My fiancée had a secret baby with another man before our wedding, so I left her at the altar and told the whole story in front of everyone. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and up until 2 weeks before my wedding, I thought I had it all figured out. I met Rachel at a friend's lake house party 3 years ago. She had this easy laugh that made people look twice, and she could hold her own in any conversation. We hit it off instantly, talking about our goals, childhood stories, even trauma. She once told me her biggest fear was being lied to. Ironic looking back, but back then, I took it as a sign of trust. Within months, we were inseparable. The proposal happened on a crisp October evening, beneath a string of lights I'd hung in our backyard. She cried, said yes between gasps. We were that couple everyone envied, at least from the outside. My family adored her. My mom called her the daughter I never had. Her family was reserved. Her father barely spoke to me, and her sister never really made eye contact, but Rachel told me they were just not emotional people. I took her word for it. I wanted to believe we were building something honest. Then came the wedding planning. Stressful, sure, but nothing out of the ordinary. We argued about chair covers and seating charts, but nothing major. Until I started noticing she'd get jumpy whenever her phone buzzed. Like she was bracing for something. She'd casually flip it face down and say, "Just work stuff." That was new. One night, she left her phone on the counter while she showered. I wasn't trying to snoop, I swear I wasn't. But a preview popped up, a message from a contact saved as Monica that read, "He's asking about the baby again." My heart stopped. There was no Monica in her life that I knew of. And no baby either. I stared at the screen, waiting, hoping there was some innocent explanation, but somewhere deep in my gut I already knew something was broken. And I had just found the first crack. At first, I told myself not to jump to conclusions. People save contacts under random names all the time, right? Maybe Monica was just a friend relaying gossip. Maybe the baby wasn't even hers. Maybe it was a joke or something from work or a friend's drama. But the second I brought it up even casually, Rachel's entire energy shifted. "Hey," I said that night as we folded programs for the ceremony, "who's Monica?" She didn't look up. "Huh?" I tried to keep my voice light. "You got a message earlier. Something about a baby? From Monica?" She paused, her hands freezing mid-fold. "Oh, just a girl from work. Her ex is being a pain." She forced a laugh. "You know how messy people get with co-parenting." But her voice had a tightness to it. Rehearsed, almost. And she changed the subject so fast it was like I'd touched an open wound. After that, I started noticing things I hadn't before. Her phone was always face down. She started locking it, something she never used to do. When I asked her to help me finalize the guest list, she said she was too tired and left the room. Only to spend 2 hours scrolling on her phone in the dark, that's when the seed of doubt really took root. Not because of the text, but because of how she reacted to being asked about it. Defensive, dismissive, twitchy. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to chalk it up to wedding stress, to anxiety, to anything but dishonesty. But something in her body language told me she wasn't scared of being misunderstood. She was scared of being found out. And the closer we got to the wedding, the more I realized I might not know the woman I was about to marry at all. After that night, I couldn't unsee it. Every glance at her phone, every vague answer, every time she told me she was running errands and came back flustered or distant, it all started to add up, and none of it made sense in the context of the woman I thought I was marrying. I tried to fight it. I told myself I was being paranoid, jealous, maybe even controlling. I reminded myself that Rachel had never given me a real reason not to trust her. But that text haunted me. I could hear it echo in my mind every time she pulled away from a hug or left the room with her phone pressed to her ear. He's asking about the baby again. Who the hell was he? I started checking timestamps. When she said she was with her mom, I'd noticed the call logs didn't match. One time, she said she was at a bridal shop with her sister, but her sister accidentally mentioned they hadn't seen each other all week. It wasn't even subtle. One night I asked her directly, "Are you hiding something from me?" She laughed. Not in a playful way, but sharp, condescending. "What are you talking about now?" "It's just, you've been off lately," I said. "And you keep locking your phone," she rolled her eyes. "Seriously? We're a month away from our wedding and you're getting insecure now?" I stared at her, this woman I loved, and suddenly realized I didn't know what she was capable of. She wasn't scared of losing me. She was daring me to doubt her, and I knew then. If I wanted answers, I'd have to find them on my own, because whatever this was, it wasn't just cold feet, it was a cover-up. I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who hires a private investigator like some suspicious husband in a bad TV drama. But when your gut keeps screaming at you and nothing adds up, you either sit back and let the lie eat you alive, or you get your hands dirty. A friend of mine from college, Nate, had worked briefly with a PI when his business partner was embezzling funds. I called him up half expecting him to laugh, but when I explained everything, he went quiet. "You're not crazy," he said. "You're being lied to. I'll text you the guy's number." I met with the investigator, Harris, 2 days later in a small cafe downtown. He was ex-military, stone-faced, and didn't ask stupid questions. Just facts, names, dates, photos. I handed him Rachel's info, told him what I suspected, and tried not to throw up. "I'll get back to you in a week," he said, sliding my file into a worn leather satchel. Maybe sooner. Those days crawled. Rachel was cheerful again, oddly affectionate, almost like she knew the suspicion had passed. Or she was trying to make me feel crazy for ever doubting her. She asked if I wanted to write my vows together. I almost laughed. 6 days later, Harris called. "I sent the report to your email," he said. "You're going to want to sit down." When I opened the file, my blood ran cold. Photos. Rachel in a park, pushing a stroller. Sitting beside a man on a bench, not touching but talking close. Meeting at a different cafe. Smiling. Then, the name. Devin Hayes. Underneath it, suspected biological father. Child estimated at 8 to 9 months old. I gripped my phone like it was a ticking bomb. My fiancée had a baby, and I wasn't the father. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, her soft breathing beside me like a cruel lullaby. I kept thinking, how long? How long had she looked me in the eye and told me she loved me while hiding a whole human life behind her back? The next morning, I made her coffee like always. I even kissed her cheek. My hands were shaking the entire time. I needed answers, but more than that, I needed to see how far she'd go with the lie. That evening, we sat on the couch going over our RSVP list. I waited until she was relaxed, curled up with her legs tucked under her, smiling like she wasn't hiding a bomb under her skin. I cleared my throat. "Hey, is there anything you want to talk to me about?" She blinked. "Like what?" "I don't know. Anything important. Anything you think I deserve to know before we get married." She tilted her head, eyes narrowing just slightly. "Where's this coming from?" "I just want to go into this with honesty," I said slowly, trying not to sound accusatory. "Full transparency, right?" She smiled. And God, I still remember how sincere it looked. "Of course. I have nothing to hide," I stared at her. Not a flicker of doubt. Not a flinch. Just pure practiced calm. I swallowed hard. "Not even about, say, someone named Devin Hayes?" That's when it happened. The twitch in her jaw. Just a fraction of a second, but enough. She laughed, a little too loudly. "Who? What are you talking about?" "You sure?" I asked quietly. "Because someone by that name seems to think you have a baby together." The silence between us thickened. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. "Where are you getting this from?" she said finally, her voice icy now. But I didn't answer, because I didn't want another lie. I wanted to see just how far she'd go. I didn't argue with her that night. I didn't show the photos. I didn't mention the stroller or the cafe meetings, or the PI. I just let her twist in the silence. Rachel stormed off to bed early, muttering about paranoia and trust issues. But I noticed she triple-locked her phone before plugging it in. That was new. I knew confronting her again wouldn't get me the truth. She was too deep in her lies. So I made a different move. Through a mutual friend, one of those friends of a friend you barely talk to until you need something, I tracked down Devin Hayes. It took me 3 awkward DMs and a long, hesitant phone call, but I finally got through. He sounded surprised when I introduced myself, tense. But then he said, "I was wondering if I was going crazy." Apparently, Rachel told Devin she'd miscarried. He said she blocked him weeks after telling him she was pregnant. He never got closure. Never met the baby. He only saw her once, by accident, at a park, when Rachel was with another woman. Devin said the little girl looked just like him, I could hear the pain in his voice. She acted like I never existed, he told me. I wasn't even asking to be with her. I just wanted to be a father. Something in me snapped. The next day I waited. I watched. I followed Rachel when she said she was going to a hair trial for the wedding. She didn't go to the salon. She went to a house I'd never seen before and came out carrying a baby in a pink onesie. I waited until she left, then walked up to the porch and rang the doorbell. An older woman answered. I introduced myself and said I was a family friend. I told her the truth. I needed just one thing, the baby's pacifier. She handed me a spare from the diaper bag, confused but kind. A week later, the DNA results came back, towards a 98% match. Devin was the father, and I was about to become a husband to a woman who had never once told me the truth. You'd think I'd scream, break things, confront her with the papers like in a bad movie scene. But I didn't. I sat at my desk, staring at the DNA results, and for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Not peaceful. Not okay, just numb. I wasn't just betrayed. I was erased. She planned to marry me, move this child into our home, and never say a word. She looked me in the eyes every day and let me plan a life around a lie. I was her plan B, the man she could count on to clean up the pieces of a secret she didn't want to carry. I couldn't stop replaying our moments in my head. Her crying when I proposed, her writing soon-to-be misses in glitter on wine glasses, her asking what color onesies we'd want someday. She had already had a baby, and not with me. And what shattered me the most wasn't the lie itself. It was the intimacy she pretended to share. The fake tears. The fake dreams. The fake future. I didn't know how to tell anyone. My parents had paid for most of the wedding. My brother was flying in from overseas. My best friend was planning my bachelor party, and I was spiraling in silence, pretending everything was okay while wondering how long I'd been living inside someone else's fantasy. She came home that night holding groceries and humming a Taylor Swift song. She kissed me on the cheek, said she'd found the perfect tie for me to wear at the altar. I wanted to scream, "What kind of monster are you?" But I just nodded because I wasn't going to scream. I was going to end it where it began, in front of everyone. And if she wanted a wedding, then she was damn well going to get one. I woke up the next morning with a plan. Not revenge, not rage, just clarity. I'd spent weeks feeling like the crazy one, the paranoid fiancé, the man losing his grip. But now I had the truth in my hands, and the only thing left to do was decide when to use it. So, I smiled. I picked up Rachel's favorite iced coffee on my way home. I told her I was excited. I held her hand as we finalized seating charts. She leaned into me and whispered, "You're going to look so handsome up there." And I whispered back, "I can't wait." She had no idea I was building a funeral for her secret. That night was the rehearsal dinner. Her family, mine, the bridal party, all in one room, laughing, drinking, celebrating. Rachel was glowing in a white dress and heels, hugging everyone like she hadn't built this whole day on a lie. She asked me if I wanted to say a few words. I said I'd save it for the altar. I had something special planned. Meanwhile, the folder was already printed. Photos from the PI, the DNA results, a copy of Devin's statement, even the text from Monica. I tucked it into the inner pocket of my tuxedo jacket. One last thing. I paid the venue manager extra to reserve a microphone for a groom's thank you speech. He smiled and said, "That's sweet, man. You don't see a lot of that these days." If only he knew. Back at home, Rachel fell asleep beside me like everything was perfect. But I lay there, staring at the ceiling, knowing that the next day, I'd stand in front of our friends, our families, our entire story, and tear the curtain down. The stage was set. She wanted a wedding. I was going to give her a show. The wedding morning felt like something out of a movie. Sunny skies. Perfect breeze. People smiling like they were characters in a love story they couldn't wait to witness. The venue was breathtaking. Flowers lining the aisle, soft music playing, guests in pastel suits and flowing dresses. Everything looked flawless. Everything felt wrong. I stood in the groom's room staring at myself in the mirror. Tuck sharp. Tie straight. Folder tucked neatly into my inside jacket pocket like a loaded weapon. One of my groomsmen clapped me on the back. You ready, man? I forced a grin. Never been more ready. They thought I was nervous to get married. I was nervous to detonate the lie. The ceremony started. Music floated through the air. The crowd hushed as Rachel appeared at the end of the aisle. She looked stunning. Hair perfectly curled, makeup soft and glowing, dress cascading like a dream. She smiled at me the whole walk down. I looked at her and thought, you really believe you got away with this? She reached the altar. I took her hands. A soft murmur passed through the guests. The officiant smiled. We are gathered here today. I heard nothing, because my heart was thundering so loud it muted the world. When it was my turn to speak, to vow my love, my life, my loyalty, I didn't. I let go of Rachel's hands. I need to say something first, I said. Stepping forward to the mic, there was a ripple through the crowd. Rachel tilted her head, confused. Before I make a promise, I think it's only fair everyone here knows the truth. I reached inside my jacket and pulled out the folder. The silence became suffocating. I opened it slowly and began reading. I'm not going to marry someone who lied to me, I said into the microphone, my voice clear but trembling. And I think everyone here deserves to know why. Rachel's face went white. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I held up the first photo, her in the park pushing the stroller. Then the second, her sitting next to Devin Hayes. Then I read the text message from Monica, slowly, letting each word burn into the air. He's asking about the baby again. There were gasps, audible, sharp. Rachel's mother dropped her bouquet. A kid started crying somewhere in the back. Rachel stepped toward me, whispering, Please stop. We can talk about this. But I didn't stop. I held up the DNA results. This child, the one she never told me about, is not mine. She told the father, Devin, that she miscarried. Then she blocked him. Then she planned to marry me and never say a word. People were standing now. My mother was clutching my father's arm, shaking her head in disbelief. Her father looked frozen, not shocked, just numb. Like he knew. Rachel lunged forward, grabbing my hand, trying to whisper something, but I stepped back. You lied to me, I said, loud enough for every guest to hear. Every smile, every kiss, every moment we planned this future, it was all built on something you never intended to share. You robbed a man of his child, and you nearly robbed me of my life. Someone in the crowd muttered, Jesus Christ. Rachel's lips quivered. It wasn't like that, I cut her off. Then explain it. Right here. Right now, she couldn't. She just stood there, shaking, mascara starting to run, gripping her bouquet like it could anchor her to the world unraveling around her. And that's when I knew. This wasn't a wedding. It was a reckoning. The next 24 hours were a blur of canceled bookings, stunned texts, and dropped jaws. Rachel tried to control the fallout. She posted some vague statement on Instagram that night, a photo of her bouquet on the ground with a caption that read, Some stories are better left untold. Healing privately now. Her comments were full of sympathy at first, people assuming I had gotten cold feet or that I'd blindsided her. But the truth doesn't. Stay quiet when it's printed in black and white. I didn't say anything at first. I didn't need to. People who were there started talking. My cousin posted a video, blurred faces, but the audio of my speech was unmistakable. It went viral in less than a day. People in the comments didn't hold back. She tried to trap him with a lie. Dude dodged a life sentence. She made a man disappear just to pretend nothing happened. Hell no, Rachel messaged me twice. The first one just said, You humiliated me. The second, Can we please talk, just the two of us? I didn't respond to either. Devin messaged me too. His was different. He said, Thank you. You did what I couldn't. I owe you one. In the days that followed, mutual friends picked sides. Most of them didn't pick hers. Some of her bridesmaids apologized to me privately. One of them confessed Rachel had told them the baby was from a fling she didn't want to revisit, and that it wouldn't matter once she was married. It wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated erasure of Devin, of her past, of the truth. And when she realized the sympathy was fading, she finally stopped posting. But by then, it didn't matter, because the lie had already burned to ash in front of everyone she'd ever tried to impress. It's been 7 months since that day, The tuxedo is still hanging in my closet, untouched, like a reminder of the version of me that died at that altar. The one who believed love was enough. The one who thought trust was a given if you gave your whole heart. I didn't get a wedding, but I got my freedom. For a while, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the silence after my speech, the stunned gasps, the crack in Rachel's voice when she whispered, "Please." I kept seeing the moment she realized her carefully crafted world had collapsed, and that I wasn't going to protect her from the truth. But now, I look back and feel something I never thought I'd feel. Peace. I'm in therapy. I started running again. I even reconnected with old friends I had pushed aside during the engagement tunnel vision. For a while, I hated myself, not for being lied to, but for almost accepting it. For almost stepping into a lifetime of pretending. One afternoon, I got coffee with Devin. We talked for over 2 hours, about betrayal, about regret, about what it means to have your identity rewritten without your permission. He's fighting for custody now, and I promised I'd be a witness if he ever needed one. Rachel hasn't reached out in months. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents. I don't hate her. I just don't believe in her anymore. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Some people love the idea of you. The stability, the image, the story. But not you, not your truth, not your pain, not your presence. I was almost a prop in someone else's fairy tale, but I ripped up the script and wrote my own ending instead.